Well, tonight we've got a very special guest with us, of course. Our senior lead officer, Brittney Gutierrez, is with us, going to talk a great deal about what's been going on in our area as far as our safety is concerned. And the recording started a little bit late on her. She was now talking about the drone, the new drones that we have coming out to the West Valley that the captain was talking about at our last meeting. So here we are. We joined a little bit late, but enjoy. And thank you all for joining us as well. So, Brittany, these are all shots coming from the drone, and this is what you can see.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as the video was stating that they had a radio call of this vehicle going around and breaking into vehicles. They sent the drone out there and the drone was able to locate this vehicle. This drone was then able to guide officers into where the vehicle was and apprehend all of the suspects that were involved. So this is just another tool that our department would like to use. We can use it for burglary for motor vehicles. We could use it for burglary, residential burglaries, commercial burglaries, any crimes. And what it does is when the call is dispatched, the drone is dispatched from the station and it flies over the call. There is officers that are working this drone and they guide and navigate officers into, let's just say it's a residential burglary. They'll guide them into the neighborhood. If they see that the suspects are jumping out of the windows and that they are running, they'll direct officers in all the ways that officers can apprehend the suspects. So this is another great tool for us for eyes in the sky. It limits the time as well. So when we get dispatched to a call, and let's just say we're at the station, that is drive time from the station to that residence, right? It takes time. Having the drone being able to fly through and not have to beat that traffic. Granted, if we are going code 3, it still does there is a time that is it's time of the essence, but we have to clear intersections. We have to stop at every intersection. It's not like just because we are going code 3 that we can fly through every intersection. So the drone as a first responder works as deploying this drone immediately at the scene of an emergency call. And so it allows officers to gain the real-time situation awareness, and the operator that is handling this drone guides the officers into the incident. It provides our crucial information before officers arrive, and that way it gives officers it's a huge help for officer safety. That meaning if the suspect has a gun in his hand, the suspect has a crowbar in his hand, officers know what they're going to be approaching. A lot of the times when we go to these radio calls, we don't know what we're going to encounter. Like I said, we go to a lot of they're called code 30s, which are alarms, and we get there is quite a bit that are false alarms, but there are ones that are suspects inside. And so we should treat every radio call as if we're going to find a suspect in the home. Not that we want that, but again, it having the eyes in the sky helps officers. It's a great officer tool. It's a great officer safety. It helps. And just being able to, once officers arrive at scene, the drone then comes back to the station, and that is simply the response for that drone, right? It reduces our response times, it documents incidents, and it enhances the officer safety, and it's our efficiency. We're striving to create a more efficient and responsive law enforcement response. And when we're being guided in, being told where the suspects are, where the suspects entered on the home, did they enter to the rear of the location? Did they enter through the balcony? It allows the officers to formulate a plan and enter the home with, I'm not saying a less apprehensiveness, but it allows us to formulate that plan to get everybody into custody because we know where they entered, and we're going to hopefully guide them out to where we are so that they can exit and we can get them into custody. Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, so, there was a concern, I think, last month about privacy with
Right.
with the drones. And are they, now that I'm hearing what you're saying, Brittany, they're only sent out when you have a call.
Right.
And and they're going to a specific location where the incident may be happening, as opposed to you're not using the drones to patrol.
No,
So
no.
so that issue kind of goes away because it's just another way of getting to a scene. Right?
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up because as of right now, we still don't have the policy in hand. And I know that that was an issue when the captain was here last month. We don't have the policy, but it is strictly for radio calls. It is not for extra patrol in the sky. It is not, it is strictly a tool to help law enforcement officers when a code 3 call comes out. And like I said, whether that is the BFV suspects, whether that is a residential or commercial burglary, it is not to impede on anybody's privacy. Again, we have a lot of tools. This is a great resource. We see a lot of success in other agencies, and we're trying to improve with technology as the years go by, right? And so I don't know if you've heard officers say, but a lot of the times the MDCs in our car, which is the computers, some other agencies have really high tech computer systems, and they're amazing. And it guides you to the call. There's so many upgraded technologies that LAPD, not that we fall short, but we are behind. And so we are now trying to catch up with these other agencies to have to have the same success rates. And we're hoping that with the community knowing that we have the drones in the sky, that we have a higher apprehension rate when we're able to be directed to where the suspects are, as opposed to arriving on scene and trying to locate each and every individual.
And just so we're clear, these drones do not have any lethal capabilities to them. They're not equipped with weapons or with guns or with tear gas or anything else. It's strictly for surveillance purposes only, and it's only dispatched when there's a code 3 call.
Absolutely, yes.
And
Yeah, no weapons at all.
are they have they been dispatched yet? I know this is a pilot program that's going on, and you're getting funded for it, and what have you. Are they in the field yet for us out here in the valley?
They are not, but they should be up and running within the next few weeks.
And I understand there's going to be two major locations where they're going to be stationed at. Is that what we understand?
Yeah, so it's going to be Topanga Division, and it's going to be West LA.
And whereabouts in Topanga Division? Give me. Some of us may not know where the Topanga Division is. Give me some cross streets where it is.
Okay, so we're on Topanga Canyon and Schoenborn. Our closest cross streets are going to be about Topanga Canyon and Roscoe. Right on the corner, there's a Chick-fil-A right there. So we're in the center of a residential neighborhood as well. That's where the drones will fly out of and come back to. That doesn't mean that we're not going to be using our airships anymore. But again, it's another resource, another tool. If it works out great for us, which like I said, we're hoping it does, we'll get more. And hopefully we can share it with the other divisions that are having high property crime, high vehicle crime. Like I said, it's a great tool, and just seeing that video shows that, if people aren't calling in for these radio calls, and if people aren't helping in the community, we would have never been able to capture these individuals and return the property back to these victims. It was the community that generated that call. It was the community that was looking out and saw that somebody else's vehicle, wasn't theirs, was being broken into. And so again, it's great to have those eyes all around, especially when you live in that residential neighborhood.
Dennis, you got another question there? Where Kathy's got one too.
I do. Just a quickie. Is this just a pilot program?
Dennis, I'm sorry, I muted you by mistake. My apologies. Unmute yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So just a quick question. Is this a pilot program that only Topanga Division has right now, and the rest of LAPD is waiting to see how it works over here, or how's that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So it's just, as of right now, it's just the two divisions. they're going to do this pilot program, and if it's successful, they'll branch off to all the other divisions. Unfortunately, Topanga Division is known for high property crime, so we're really hoping that this drone program works out for us, because like I said, we see all the positives that come from it from these other agencies that send in their videos, and it truly is a really cool piece of equipment.
When you say high property crimes out here, what are we talking about?
So that's so out of the 21 divisions, Topanga Division leads in property crime. And that is residential, that is commercial, that is your vehicle theft, that is your theft for motor vehicle, that is residential burglaries, that is your commercial burglaries, and all those type a stolen vehicle, all of those are property crimes.
So this is one of the major tools you're going to need in order, hopefully, to get us off of that stat list. Kathy, you had a question. Your hand was up. You're unmuted.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I actually have three, and I'll go very quickly.
Sure, go
I
ahead.
understand that our SLO is Sean. Do you have his contact information, please?
He's not your SLO, and here, Sean got moved from down in our division up to north. Where are you at, Kathy? Are you down here in the Southern Division? Because
I am just south of Victory, just east of Valley Circle.
Okay, yes. Hold on one second. Let me get you.
so that would be Sean's.
Yes. So his work number is going to be 818-731-2568.
Thank you. And his email, please?
His email is going to be 34920@lapd.online.
And by the way, for anybody that's looking for their senior lead officers in other areas, there is a listing. Just go into Google and you can tap in senior lead officers for Topanga Division. You'll get a listing of all those that are out here as well. Kathy, you have some more questions? Go ahead.
I do. This is my first Who Zoom, so forgive everybody if I'm making obvious questions. But in addition to cameras, do you also find motion control floodlights a help in terms of divergence?
Absolutely. So I'll go over all of that when I go over crime statistics as well. But yes, lighting is huge.
Is there anything else that you can suggest to all of us? I know we're looking at all kinds of various things and talking to each other, particularly on Crime Busters, at least I am. So I'm interested in anything else that you can have. And the last question I have is, what is your parameters? I know where you guys are located in terms of your station, but I was interested in what the parameters are of Topanga Division.
East, west, north, south divisions.
Okay. So we're roughly to the north around Roscoe. To the south is Mulholland, and then we're about Valley Circle to Corbin.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Heath,
And I'll go over. Like I said, when I go over the crime statistics, I'll go over some of the preventative measures, and that way it'll answer your question as well. Okay.
Sounds good. Heath, you got some questions? Go ahead.
Please, thank you. Good evening, Brittney. Great presentation. You mentioned you're going to be launching the drones from the Topanga station. For those of us who reside in the Girard tract, we're about as far away from Topanga station as you can be in the division.
That's up by Mulholland for everybody who doesn't know.
Yeah. What is the travel time? What's the time that the drones can remain in the air before you have to return them to base? Any plans to have them deployed in other places in the division during this test range and so forth? And
we understand they'll have like about a 2-mile radius roughly for them to be able to fly.
Right.
So
yeah, it's going to be that 2-mile radius. I can get back to you on the time. Like I said, I don't want to give you a time that I'm not 100% sure on. But yeah, it is about a 2-mile radius. It is going to be deployed all throughout Topanga Division. And like I said, in the secondary division, which is West LA. West LA also has a high property crime value, a property crime division as well. So they're gonna deploy both of the drones over in both these divisions to help curb that crime.
How many drones are there total that you're supposed to be getting?
So I believe Topanga Division is getting 2, but I'm not sure about West LA. And I mean, it could be more, it could be less. But like I said, I only checked in on Topanga.
I think I understood from your captain that they're going to put another spot to launch them from that's going to be further south than
Yes.
what your location is. Do we know where that location is yet?
That hasn't been confirmed. I think it will be confirmed once, because I know that like some people there was some pushback, but I believe it's because people are weary about drones, and I can understand, because sometimes they're not police drones, and people will call and say, I had a drone in my backyard, I feel like they're casing my house, which is an absolutely valid concern. So I know that we're still going out to the community. We're still trying to advise them, and it's strictly for radio calls. And that's why I'm glad we have so many attendees here tonight. So that way we could put everybody at ease that it is strictly just a tool to help, and it is not going to just be flying around without a purpose.
That's good. Heath, did you have another question?
Yeah, do you have a picture of the drone so we can recognize it from the side and the bottom and know when it's not somebody casing us? Because those
Absolutely.
That's a
So,
good question.
John, do you have the email that was originally sent? It had the flyer attached to it, because there's a drone on the top of that flyer. It was from last month.
I'll take a look while we're on here and see what we
Okay.
can do. Let's grab.
Yeah, and it says police on it. I mean, they are big. They're bigger than your normal smaller drones that you see. They are quite large in size. But
And
yeah, if you could find that flyer, that would be great, because it has a few pictures of what the drones look like.
I'll take a look for that and see if I can come up with it. Heath, anything else?
No, that's good for now. Thanks.
I think we got Matt. You had some questions. You can unmute yourself and ask your questions. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah. Brittney, yeah, big supporter of the drones. I really think that people that are complaining about the drones, or like the people complaining about the Wright brothers, back when air flight was, coming into its own, complaining about what do we do if one falls out of the sky. I really think this is a messaging challenge with the LAPD. As far as anyone with common sense should know, to me, the drones are such an obvious way to go with the future. Everybody's using them. LAPD, in my view, can use so much of these things to, again, not replace helicopters, but I wake up in my neighborhood and I see 3 helicopters above Ventura Boulevard or the 101 freeway, and they're looking at an accident.
Right.
3 helicopters. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I really think it's a messaging challenge for LAPD to get up with these, to get the messaging out, how much you pay for a helicopter budget versus so many drones could be doing so many great things right now. And if you're paranoid about people looking in your yard, then that's you. Sorry. I'm all for it. Go for it.
Amazing. Well, we appreciate the support.
Jason, looks like you've got some questions too. Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me?
You can. Go ahead.
Okay. This past Friday night, it's around 11:30 at night. I received a notification from one of my cameras that there was someone walking behind my garage.
Okay.
So I viewed the camera and noticed a guy wearing all black, baseball cap, wearing a mask, a face mask. And anyone familiar with the property here would know that my garage is a dead end. You can't get through. And granted, I'm right next to the Warren Ranch Park. The guy turns around and walks away. And, finding that being suspicious, it's not cold outside. There's no one around. Why is he wearing a face mask? And he's looking suspicious. So I called 911, and it's a prowler. And I noticed the guy, lingering around for a while before that. I've seen him. And they transferred me to the non-emergency number. And I waited on hold for about 11 minutes, I think, and then I hung up.
Okay.
And then next day, one of the neighbors on Burbank Boulevard, who's out of town, noticed that the window of their neighbor downstairs was completely smashed out. I think it was just a vandalism, but it's just a coincidence. I don't know if it's a coincidence or what, but I mean, I felt that was a priority call. I mean, it's midnight and the guy's wearing a mask. He's looking suspicious. And I explained that to the operator. She didn't even tell me that I was being transferred to non-emergency. She just transferred me. So I just want clarification on what would be considered a 911 call and what would be considered anonymous.
So when you spoke, so again, and this is hard. This is hard because all of our calls are coded, and that's their code 3 response, your code 2, and then your non-coded calls. So if there is not a crime actively being committed, it's going to be a non-coded. Someone, like you said, it is suspicious that someone is wearing a mask, that's walking in the backyard. What was your, when you called dispatch, what was the terminology that you used? A lot of the times, people will call and say, oh, I saw somebody walking, in front of my house. He looks suspicious. Well, we appreciate that, and we want you guys to we want everybody to call us. We want you guys to contact your senior lead officers. We want the community to do that. But if there isn't a crime in progress, it normally does get transferred to non-emergency. And again, that all depends on dispatch. That has nothing to do with LAPD and how we code our calls, but a lot of it is the terminology.
I think I've got the picture of the drone for you if you wish to take a look at that real quickly. If you're able to see the screen here, what we got on the drones.
Yeah. Amazing. So yeah, so there's 3 pictures. Those are the 3 drones that are going to be used. Anybody have any questions on those drones?
Yeah, the question was, why aren't they being deployed now? What's holding it up, and why don't you have more?
I do know that it also is a budget thing. I also know that we just met some of the operators that are certified in using these drones, and they just got to Topanga Station. So I'm like I said, I think within the next 2 weeks, our next DP, which is our deployment period, is in 2 weeks, and they should be up and running.
Bob, it looks like you've got a question. You can unmute yourself. Go ahead, Bob. Had your hand up? There you go.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, great. Just 2 really quick questions. One, understanding that the drone is a pilot program and that we are going to get 2. If it's successful, will it increase in number of drones, or it would always stay at 2?
Well, I hope it increases. I mean, we have to prove that.
You dumb fuck.
We had some crosstalk there. Go ahead.
Okay. No, we have some, like I said, if we're hoping that we see it being used as a huge help for us. So I know, like I said, it all comes down to budget. That's more, I'll ask my captain, but I know that that's something way above way above my pay grade when it comes to how many drones. But I truly do hope that if we can prove, like these other agencies, that how much it helps our divisions, I don't see why we wouldn't get more.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bruce, if you've got a question, I think you can unmute yourself. Go ahead.
I'd like to find out what's Dennis Cunningham's phone number at Topanga.
Let me.
There were some people who are posting it down in the Q&As. I don't know if that's accurate and correct or not.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get his business.
The Q&A, the statements in the Q&A, I believe, indicated.
So his is 818-756-4800.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Kathy, it looks like you had another question as well. If you want to unmute yourself, you can go ahead and talk. Kathy, do you have another question?
Oh,
Yes, thank you. I have heard that there have been quite a number of burglaries coming off the washes, the LA River washes.
phone number I have for Dennis.
Hello?
I'm here.
You're
Okay.
on, Kathy. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Bruce. Let me mute you, Bruce. You're talking over. Go ahead. Go ahead, Kathy.
So I am just wondering, is there any additional advice or warnings or thoughts about how to protect yourself for the people who are along the river washes?
Yeah, this
Do
might be a
you
good time.
have
I'm saying this might be a good time to start talking about some of the statistics and how we might be able to harden up some of our.
Okay, so let me do that. Let me go over some of the crime statistics, and then I'll come back to your question. Okay, Kathy? Let me do that. So,
Thank you.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to go over some of the crimes that occurred in 2024 and compare them to 2025. So as of right now, for our robberies in 2024, we had 4. And at this same time last year, we have 5. So we are up 1. For our aggravated assaults in 2024, we had 10. As of right now, we have 9. So we are down in aggravated assaults. Our burglaries in 2024, we had 40. And at this time this year, we only have 29. For our grand theft autos, which is your vehicle thefts, that is going to be in 2024, we had 25. And right now, we are looking at 20. Our burglary for motor vehicles in 2024, we had 53. And right now, we are sitting on about 38. So we are down in that as well. And any of the other thefts, we had 66 in 2024. And as of right now, we have 62. So we are seeing a decrease from last year in a majority of these different crimes. So going over our burglaries. So I will say that in February, we did have 16 burglaries. 5 of those were from storage units. So that would leave us. So this month, we've only had 5. So with that being said, we did have 1 week where we had a few burglaries more than we've had in other weeks. We have seen that before. We've seen that last year. We see that from time and time again. Those would be crews. So these are burglary crews where we have video footage of 1 or more. We have a vehicle that's in front with normally somebody waiting inside, and they're in and out really quick. The burglaries that we're seeing, the commonalities in these burglaries are going to be that they're going through the rear backyards and they're smashing the rear sliding glass windows, and that's how they're entering the properties. Some of these commonalities that we've seen is they go to the breaker and they shut off the power. We've seen that in about 6 burglaries. I know, but those burglaries were more in the northern part of the division, but I want to make it known because there is a cage that you can put on your breakers to prevent that from happening. So with that being
Is that a case or just a lock? What is that?
No, there's there is an actual cage. It's kind of like when you have your catalytic converter stolen, you could put a cage underneath your vehicle. A lot of these power breakers, you can have a cage that go around it, and it protects them from just being easily being able to open and turn off the breakers. Because
most of them got just a place where you can actually put a lock on them as well. They have like a little tank comes out to. I don't know if those will get broken off real easily or not.
Right. And I mean, whatever you can do to try and prevent or make it harder for someone to get into your breaker box. So if that means
key on everything is slow them down as much as what you possibly can with everything. I mean, around your windows, put up some good rose bushes with a lot of thorns on them so they can't climb through the windows easily. Anything to slow them down or make them.
Absolutely. With that, when the breaker is shut off and the power is shut off to the house, whether you have Wi-Fi cameras or you have a hardwire camera, your cameras go out. So we're not going to get evidence. We're only going to get before, and we're not going to get anything after or during. So with that being said, these breaker boxes and having them in cages really, really helps slow down and to be quite honest, is a deterrent. It takes a lot of time to try and get a cage off, to get a lock off when they can prowl other locations that they might deem as easier access.
And Brittney, there are also some cameras that are battery operated and do have a SIM card in them, so they're continuously recording. So it doesn't matter whether or not there's any, as long as you got battery power in there, and they can't get them and knock them down or spray them or whatever. At least you got those continuous. So just watch the type of cameras you're putting up; those are available.
Absolutely. I will say we haven't had this in Woodland Hills, but I do want to bring it up because we've had it in some of the burglaries that are in the north of the division. Is when they break the sliding glass rear window, they immediately run to the alarm system and they rip it off the wall. The only thing we can think of why they are doing that is to break the connection and hoping that within 30 seconds of them breaking the window to the connection, it doesn't send out the signal. So that is something to look out for. Like I said, that hasn't happened in Woodland Hills, but it's just something else just to be aware of. Having those unlocked gates. A lot of the times when we go and we canvass and we do our investigation, a lot of these homes have unlocked gates. It is much more suspicious to watch somebody jump over your gate as opposed to somebody opening and closing the door behind them. Climbing over the gate using the victim's property, meaning I obviously understand that if you have patio furniture in the backyard, you're not going to lock up your patio furniture every time you leave your home. That's completely reasonable. I wouldn't expect anybody to do that. But just know that some of the burglaries that we have seen, they've used trash cans that were in the backyards of these victims. They've used their own chairs to break the windows. They've have found ladders that are being stored in the victim's backyard, and they'll put the ladder up to the balcony and they'll enter off the balcony. So just be aware that some of the things that you do have in your backyard, one of the homes had a shed. They used one of the tools from the shed to smash the rear sliding glass window. So just a few things to be aware of. Making sure that you check your garage doors. So there was a few garage doors that if you just pull up on the garage, some of the older model garage doors, if you just pull up on the garage door, a lot of them aren't being locked. Some of the battery powered ones that I have a garage door that once it goes down, it locks at the bottom of the garage. Now, that to me that helps me feel more secure and safe because I know that there's a locking mechanism on both of the garage doors. So no matter how hard you pull up on that garage door, it is not going to come open. So just be mindful and make sure you check if you have a garage door that leads to a residence, make sure that garage door or that side door is also locked. Making sure you're securing your windows. We've had a few burglaries where they're entering through open windows. Victims leave the home. They want to get that fresh air. They leave the rear window open, and that is the entry point and the exit point for these burglaries. And always set your alarm. If you have an alarm system, use it. We've seen time and time again, whether it's a hot prowl, meaning somebody is meaning the victim is home when the burglary occurs, or even when the victim leaves. A lot of people have alarm systems and they don't use them. And if you're paying for it, I highly suggest you use it. It's a great deterrent, especially when someone does break in and there's that loud sounding alarm. That's a huge deterrent. So please, if you have it, use it. I know that I have a security system that anytime everybody walks onto my driveway, it alerts me. It's kind of like these different, doorbell cameras that alert you. Sometimes people don't like that it constantly chimes. You can turn the chime off. You can make the distance like farther that goes out to the street, but some people don't want to be notified every time a car drives by. Just know that a lot of the times when we do get video footage and it's from these cameras, it doesn't go anything. We can't get video. We rarely get video footage of the street. We only get it to the driveway. So we don't have a make or model of a vehicle. We don't have anything that shows if they came on a bike, if they came on foot, what direction they came from. So a lot of that helps us when we try and do these investigations if you have that parameter a little bit farther out into the street. With that said,
we also had, I think the captain was mentioning to us that some of the cameras that at nighttime are only kind of really showing black and white. They really can't get a good visual of the faces of them because you use some facial recognition, which is really good off those cameras. So watch the cameras you're getting that are going to have some good color and good 4K or whatever at nighttime, so they're able to see those individuals out there if there's some good lights on them someplace.
Absolutely. You get what you pay for. Yes, it's going to be expensive, but you're paying for a service for a sense of security. It doesn't help law enforcement and it doesn't help anybody in the community if we see pixelated figures. And so please help us help you. Place these cameras all around the perimeter of your home. A lot of the residents that I see, they'll have cameras only facing their driveway, facing their front door, but nothing on the side of the homes or nothing to the rear of the homes. So if you can get cameras that is completely 360 around your property, that's amazing.
Hardwire. We're getting a number of questions about the about the breaker cages. Do you know who makes them or where they can find them? Is it something out of Home Depot? I've never seen one. So
Yeah, so I Googled it before I came. Hold on, let me see if I can find the one that I Googled really quick. I think I wrote the breaker cages for homes. Hold on one second.
they are there's some of them that are pretty elaborate that I'm seeing online as well. But I'm sure there's got to be something that's a little bit more um, friendlier user, I guess, as I would say.
Yeah. So do you mind if I send you a picture later tonight that you can email out to everybody of the
I will-
breaker box I was talking about?
I
So
will be more
it's
than
truly just a cage. It really is a cage. You have it mounted to your wall and it goes around your breaker box. And like I said, it's a cage that it'd be really, really hard to try and break the wiring off of that cage. You would have to have a key. So if you needed to use it, you'd have to have a key in order to open it. But I'll send that to you. And then, like I said, if you could share that with everybody,
I
that'd
would
be
be more than pleased to do that because I like to see one of those myself.
absolutely.
As well. Jeff, you had a question. I'm sorry, Brittney. Do you have some more that was there? I got a couple of questions that are here too.
Yeah, well, we can do some of the questions, then I'll keep going.
Okay, that sounds good. Jeff, you got a question? You can. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes, well, so we actually had a crew come to our property today and try to break in through the back. Exactly the MO you talked about. They had two people trying to come in through the back door. This was after what appeared to be like a spotter dressed in a fake Amazon uniform with a fake package, knocking on the front door for about 2 minutes, which we didn't answer because it seemed unusual the way they were knocking. I think they thought we were not home and tried to come in. They did have a getaway car parked across the street, a white Buick. So the officers that came and they spent 3 hours with us, which I very much appreciate, felt that it was a crew of 4. We did get some camera footage of the car. The plate does not match the make and model of the car, so they've even swapped out their license plate. I'm not exactly sure what my question is other than to say, I have a broken window in the back of my home, which I'll need to get repaired.
Right.
I'm not sure what else I should really be doing to try to protect the home. We happened to be here and I shouted when I heard them breaking the window and they took off. Obviously, that could have ended far worse if
Right.
We're hearing about a crew. I just learned today, a couple days ago, that zip tied the occupants, and that was very near our house as well. And it was a crew of 4, perhaps the same crew. You guys did have a helicopter up. I don't believe anyone was caught just yet. But it's obviously only 8 hours ago. What I guess do you have any general advice for what I should do? We do have an alarm system which would have probably gone off if they had entered the home. Although I think if they come through a broken window rather than opening the actual window, that doesn't disconnect the sensor, so it may not even have triggered the alarm in that case.
Right. So again, it's having the lighting, it's having the cameras, because the cameras maybe could have notified you that someone was on the property. I will say nothing is I wish I had 100% proof. I wish there was something that I could say, hey, if you did this, you wouldn't be targeted. Also, if you have a car parked in your driveway as opposed to a car not being parked in your driveway, if you park on the street, sometimes it makes your home look like it's not occupied during the day and it becomes a target. If there's trash cans left outside, if you have shrubbery that hides the front, if we can't see from the street, they know that they can't be seen from inside. So again, I wish, Jeff, I had something that was 100% proof. But like if you knowing your neighbors, there was an incident that SLO Fernandez had where his neighbor saw 4 masked men jumping through the backyard and into the neighbor's home. So he calls the police, but as he's calling the police, he yells at the suspects, "Get out of here, get out of here." Now, when officers arrived there, the suspects had fled. There was no camera footage. There wasn't any of that, right? So what we had said to the neighbor was, describe them to us. Let officers get there and surround the home. If, because he had said on the broadcast that he knew his neighbors weren't there, right? So it allows officers that time to get down there, to set up that perimeter and to get them into custody. Because again, they are majority a crew and they are going to different locations. And it's not only Topanga Division that is having high burglaries. It is all Valley divisions. I know Devonshire is getting hit really hard. West Valley is getting hit, North Hollywood. So I don't want there to be this false sense that it's just Topanga Division. Unfortunately, these crews work everywhere and they're hitting every division. And so continue to, like I said, if you have an alarm system, continue to use that. Know your neighbors, be in constant communication. If something doesn't look right, say something.
Brittney, it's somewhat controversial for me. Are you finding that these people who are doing most of these robberies now, are they people who have been coming in and across the border, or are these just people that are local that are just looking for opportunities, or is there seem to be a pattern at all as to where these, because there's been an uptick. I mean, I've been out here since the
Right,
80s,
right,
and there's definitely been an uptick recently. And
right.
wonder where they're coming from.
I can't say anything about crews from I know that the crews that we have arrested have been within the United States, within California. We haven't seen. I know we had we had a Chilean crew not too long ago. We're not seeing that. But I'm not. But I don't want to leave that false sense that it's not happening.
Okay,
We don't have enough evidence to say it is an outside crew.
By the way, Jeff had mentioned something about the glass being broken. I think that the Ring camera system has got a glass shattering sensor that
Right.
apparently picks up and it hears the glass being shattered, and it will set off the alarm as well on that one. I think Kathy, I think you had another question as well. Again, you're unmuted if you want to take another question, Kathy. Go ahead.
Well, do you have it was regarding the electrical cages, and thank you for putting it up later after our call. But again, is there any particular advice for? I have a bunch of bougainvillea and roses along the back fence, but is there anything else that you advise for anybody coming in off the washes?
Cameras. Do you have a dog? That's a deterrent. Again, it's like I said,
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So, having that barking dog, that helps. Having, it doesn't have to, like I said, we're not saying it has to be a mean dog, but just tell your dog to alert that somebody's in your backyard. Having cameras that the perimeter goes to the fence. So that way, if somebody does come over your fence from the wash, you're alerted that it chimes. I will say I can't speak for this company, but I'm going to try and show you the cage for that breaker box. Can you guys see that?
Yes, we can see it. Up back there you go. You're good.
So it's cages like
folds over
that.
the top of it. I got you. It opens up and folds down like a clamshell coming on top.
Right. So I just Googled this. Now, mind you, I've never used this product. I am not advocating for this product, but it's under Cage Man Security Products. Okay, and that was just something that I Googled off on that I just Googled. So those are the cages that I'm talking about that secure it. But going back, having that lighting, when we go back to get video footage and we go to the homes that have been burglarized, I am telling you, a lot of the time it is terrible, terrible lighting. It is terrible lighting. It is mail still in the mailbox. It is newspaper still in the front. It is Amazon packages that are piled up at the front door. Those are all signs that you're not home, or if you're not home, you are just allowing it to pile up. You have to be your own advocate in the sense of helping yourself not be a target.
You had a question, Bob. If you unmute yourself, go ahead.
Yeah, the question I had is, are you finding that the break-ins, are you finding that the majority of them are armed or unarmed?
Well, the ones that we've arrested, we haven't found a firearm. but I can't tell you that they're not armed. We have, I mean, the crews that we have arrested, we have not found a firearm.
Well, what about the ones where there is any type of video footage, or the homeowner is home and they're confronted by the intruder? I'm
We
just
have
because
not,
I
yes,
have a 2-year-old and I have a 5-year-old.
right.
So obviously
Right.
I not to say I should be any more worried than anyone else, but I mean I'm obviously concerned. So
Absolutely.
I want to know. Obviously, don't be a hero,
Right.
because you don't know what's going to happen. But I just was wondering if you guys had any statistics as to whether or not the majority of them are unarmed from the ones that you have been able to gather any information on, as opposed to armed.
Right. So the information, so some of the security video footages that we do see, they have tools in their hand, but we don't see them walking up to a residence with a firearm just exposed. We have not seen that on our video surveillance. We have not seen where they break the window, and if somebody's home, they continue to enter the residence. A lot of the times they don't want anybody to be there. They don't want the confrontation. We haven't seen in the ones in the crews that we have arrested, we have not recovered a firearm. We've recovered the property, but we haven't recovered firearms. So but I don't want to give you, again, just because we haven't found that crew that doesn't have one, doesn't mean that there isn't any that are going to, that could possibly be armed. Because again, burglary suspects are known to carry tools, right? They're known to carry, they're known to carry, what they're doing is a violent act, right? They're entering the home, and whether somebody's there or not, it's a violent act. So I wish I had, like I said earlier, I wish I had 100% proof, something that would deter. But having that lighting, having that camera footage, is a huge help.
Okay, thank you.
I'm hearing that most of these burglaries are first of all, are they in homes or are they in apartments? What seems to be the major locations?
Homes. We're
Definitely
seeing
homes.
residential homes. We're seeing residential homes.
I think the captain was mentioned. I've heard from someplace that most of the burglaries, they really don't want to encounter anybody. They're hoping
No.
it's not going to be home. They want to be able to get in and get out. It's like a 4-minute run, and that's it. And I would imagine that those homes are close to some kind of easy access,
Yes.
for freeways or from major streets to where they can get out and get gone, and put some distance between them is what they're more likely to be. Are we on the same page?
We are. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Heath, it looks like you got another question. You go ahead and unmute yourself. Go
I
ahead.
do. Thank you. Are there any stats that you have about burglaries and crimes in neighborhoods that have posted neighborhood watch signs and active neighborhood watches versus those neighborhoods that do not?
I don't, but you know what? That's a good question. Let me look into that. With none. Yeah, I don't. Let me look into that.
Thanks.
Shelley, go ahead and unmute yourself as well. Go with that. And I want to get into some of the
Hi. Yeah. Thank you,
watch
Brittney.
stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned about they like to get out. What do you think, or what does the station think might be the difference on these two recent incidents, one in West Hills, one in Woodland Hills, when they did enter the home and, tie up the individuals that were present?
So because they are still an open investigation, I can't really get into the details. But what I will say is that both of them were targeted for a specific reason.
Okay.
So it wasn't a random home that they went into and tied up.
Okay, that
That makes sense.
Yeah, we do.
And like I said, I wish I could say more, but because it's still an active investigation, I can't really go into the details. But it's very rare. And it's one of those things that both of those locations were targeted locations.
Yeah, there is apparently this impression that people that are out in public, especially at some high-end restaurants that have a lot of jewelry on or what have you, are probably more susceptible to people doing follow homes to them, and those are probably some of the more violent ones that robberies could probably happen.
Right.
Be aware. Just keep your eyes and ears open. Chris Rowe, you had a question. You can unmute yourself. Go ahead. Chris Rowe, go ahead. You're on mute.
Yeah, I John, you earlier mentioned that there are cameras with batteries so that if your power was cut, you'd have that battery capability. What I wanted to know is, are there solar ones that
There are. There absolutely are. Where
Yes.
you don't have to worry about the batteries on them. You go online with it and just look for a solar battery operated security camera, and preferably one that's got some good nighttime vision with it and has an SD slot for it, so you can keep a recording on it all the time, so that you don't have to worry about it. Most of those are remote; they'll come back to your phone or what have you. But again, for them to come to your phone, it has to have the internet to it. But you want it to be able to record on the actual phone. I'm sorry, on the actual camera itself. So Chris, they're available. You just have to kind of look around for them. Just don't think because you got a camera up and it's going to the internet that you're done. These guys and girls are finding ways to get around all of that, it seems to me. So just be wise. But yeah, they're not terribly expensive. They're under $100. I've got one that's about, I think it was like $30 or $40. So you can get a number of them, put them in different places, and move them around. If somebody's stealing your mail, put one outside so it's just poked at the mailbox and find out who's doing it. So anyway,
Can I piggyback off of your response real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Another thing is when it comes to the cameras, it's placement of cameras. So we've seen in a few of the burglaries where the suspects, the camera is an arm reach. So some of the homes have their cameras attached to to fixtures along the home, but it's an arm's reach. So what they're doing is they're simply pushing the camera down, or they're ripping the camera off the stand. So again, you don't want the camera to be so high where you can't see the focus of what you're trying to capture. But again, if you could put it higher so that if you have a lower roof, it's not as accessible.
Yeah, the only other way you got is that while they're reaching up to try to move the camera, you're hoping their face will be right in the middle of the camera. At least get a little bit of the shots from at that point. But,
Absolutely.
But you never listen. They're smart enough to make sure that the hoodies are over them or they've got something else going on. So they're not stupid. They're
right.
If they use their intelligence to get a regular job and to do something, probably very wealthier and not have the risk of going to jail. Brittney, I think it's important for us to talk about the neighborhood watch stuff. I know that you do a lot with that and how important it is, what it actually is. What does it do? Is it worthwhile for people to put their time into it? How do people go about doing it? Do they contact you or what is it about? Let's start with what is the neighborhood watch? What does it do? What is it?
So a neighborhood watch is someone that wants to take the responsibility on the street, and it'll be like a block captain, and they have everybody on that street that gets together, whether it's quarterly, whether it's monthly, whether it's every 6 months, and they have either you contact me as your senior lead officer, and I will come out and I'll go over crime statistics, I'll go over any questions, I'll go over any upcoming events. Or you can have your neighborhood watch meetings here at Topanga Station. I have a Woodland Hills community neighborhood watch meeting every third Wednesday of the month here at Topanga Division. And so that's at 6 p.m. here in the community room. But the neighborhood watch is strictly neighbors getting together and being a lookout for each other. Some of them have text message groups. Some of them have the WhatsApp groups. A lot. It's to know your neighbors. It's to look out for your neighbors. If your neighbor is going away, looking out for their home, being able to become a team on that street. And some of these neighborhood watches, they'll start out with 10, 12, and then they go to the next block, and then there's another block captain. So you can have the block captains that attend the meetings here at the station, and then the block captains go back out and they basically tell everybody in the community and on their street everything that they learned within the community meeting that was here at Topanga Station. So the neighborhood watches, they do help because it keeps everybody informed. Not everybody can come to meetings. Not everybody works. Everybody has a life. Everybody has a lot of things going on. So we understand that not everybody can make our community meetings here at the station, but all the senior lead officers, you guys choose a time, your block chooses a time and a date. we'll come out and we'll provide any crime statistics. We'll provide any information that your neighborhood needs or wants.
Well, a little confused about this meeting that you have on the third Wednesdays. Who comes to that?
It's strictly all for Woodland Hills. It is only
Is
Woodland
it
Hills.
any resident at all? Or is it just your
Any
captain?
resident. No, any resident, any business, anything regarding the Woodland Hills area. We talk about only crime and only updates and only anything that goes on in Woodland Hills.
And how long does that usually last?
I'm sorry?
How long does it usually last?
About an hour.
Okay.
Yes. So it's here at Topanga Station at 6 p.m. in the community room.
And as far as the people who want to set up their own individual neighborhood watches, I see signs around from time to time. Where do those signs come from? Is that the police department provide them, or they're outside?
No, those are paid for by the neighborhood watch. Those are through the council district, and and the council district then gets with the city to post the signs.
And the city actually posts them then from the city council. Interesting.
Yes.
How many neighborhood watches do we have in the West Valley out here? Is it a lot of them, or are we?
We have a lot. Oh yeah, we have Woodland Hills. I wish I had a number, but I know I have probably over 16 or 17 neighborhood watch programs just within my area. And mind you, it could just be the street or it could be blocks. And so it is a big undertaking when you do have a block captain, because the community relies on you to come to these meetings. The community relies on you to disseminate this information. So it's working with the community and working with law enforcement.
How does somebody find out if there is one already in their neighborhood? Are we looking for the sign?
Reach out to me, and I'll definitely let you know if you have a neighborhood watch that is close to your residence.
All right, we're going to post up your telephone number again, which is 213-709-9231.
Yes.
And an email is 41928, which is I'm assuming your badge number.
Yes.
41928, and that's at lapd.online. All the police officers are reachable through the emails by their badge numbers, and then at the LAPD online. Scott Silverstein, you can unmute yourself. You got a question too, it looks like.
Yeah, just a couple of things. One, you mentioned it's a good segue into the community cooperation, where we have 6 or 7 houses right around here where not only are the cameras on their property, but they're also facing the neighbors' houses across the street. So where somebody is recording the cars that are driving by, somebody is always recording the front of the other houses. And if they do shut off your power, you know that somebody is going to have that on film, on recording. And it works out really well because, we have people with the solar batteries and so on. But just make your neighbor's house, see if they could shine a camera across the street to the neighbors across the street also. And you form like a little net around the area so nobody can get through there without somebody recording it, regardless if they shut your power. One of the other things I was told was don't hide things in your bedroom. If you have, that's the first place they go is looking for jewelry and so is in your bedroom. Get it out of your bedroom. Find a place to hide it. If you could find a place for a safe, don't just own a safe. Make sure your safe is cemented into the ground. Yeah. Because they'll carry the safe out of the house.
True.
Right. And just to piggyback off of that, any jewelry, any purses, any expensive items, anything along those lines, firearms, anything with a serial number, if it is valuable to you, take a picture of it. And the reason why we say that is because if you are burglarized, we ask you, what does it look like? And a lot of the times, the victim doesn't have the serial number. The victim doesn't have a picture of the purse, or doesn't have a picture of the ring, or doesn't have a picture of the necklace. That helps us immensely because when we do catch these individuals that has the stolen property, it is so much easier for us to look at a picture and get all the property back to the victim. So please take pictures of firearms, jewelry, expensive items, purses, all along those lines.
We talked about that, especially in light of the stuff that's been going on with the fires. It's very wise to take your cell phone, go through the house. It takes about 30 minutes. Go through every drawer, open it up, under every cabinet. Look through all your clothes, especially if you have weapons around. Look for the serial numbers so you can record them as well. Just keep the recorder going. If you have to talk about it, what have you, do so on the recording so that you've got stuff that's available to it. Bruce, you had a question. You're unmuted. Go ahead with your question, sir.
Yeah, what's the next meeting for Topanga Station? West Hills.
So let me get the map and West Hills. So who is your senior lead officer?
We're not sure.
Not sure on
We're
that.
not sure on that, but we go to the neighborhood watch and,
They
it keeps changing it's changing the dates.
Will you text me, and as soon as I'm off this, I'll look and see if you're what part of West Hills you are, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, because we're very involved. We've been here for a long time, like 40 years here.
Okay, yeah, no, please text me, and as soon as this meeting's over, I'll make sure to get you the senior lead officer map and let you know when your meetings are.
I think Corey is one of them. Isn't Corey?
Yeah, Corey was
one of them, but I think he got transferred.
So you're A1, so that would be
And also we know Dennis Cunningham because my husband did a ride along with Topanga Station a few years ago, but we know Dennis Cunningham very well.
Okay. Well, yeah. So according to our map, it's the fourth Thursday of every month for the West Hills area, and that's going to be here at Topanga Station.
Yeah, we go there. We go every month, but
amazing.
I'm telling you, it's been changing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, they should stick to the map because that's what we're distributing out to everybody.
Oh, thank you so much. We really
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. John, do you mind if I just really quickly go over some of the traffic stuff?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Yeah, we want to get at 9 o'clock here. And that's for sure.
Okay, perfect.
Let's
all
hold
right.
on. Go ahead. Absolutely.
Okay, so just really quick. So I reached out to the motor officer. He stated that Topanga Division is looking really good statistically at this time this year. Unfortunately, we do have one fatality, and that was a pedestrian that was hit in the roadway. Pay attention when you're walking and you're exercising. We see a lot of people on their phones. They're not paying attention. They're looking down when they're crossing the crosswalk. A lot of, we see it with Uber drivers as well. They're trying to get to one location to another. So please be aware of your surrounding. The speed violations are up across the valley. So be mindful when you are commuting. Report any street activity to our valley traffic, and we want you to report it to a particular sergeant. So we have a street racing task force out of Valley Traffic Division. The sergeant for that that unit is Sergeant Magana. And I'm going to give you his direct email. His direct email is 37647@lapd.online. So any street racing issues that you have, please reach out to that unit. And like I said, that they specialize in these task forces and they specialize in these street takeovers. We have a motor officer that is assigned to Topanga Division. He is our community traffic service officer, and he is assigned to strictly Topanga Division. What does that mean? That means that he is the senior lead officer of motors for Topanga. So if there is a street cross and don't cross, and you guys are seeing that people are blowing the stop sign, you can either contact me or I'll give you his contact. He opens up a case. He has to work that location for approximately 3 months. If he deems that is a problematic location, then we can move further with the council district and maybe getting a speed bump or maybe getting another stop sign or whatever the issue is. But we have a lot of schools that request him because of pickup and drop off. We know that there's double parking. We know that people are speeding, trying to get their kids to school so they're not late. So he is Officer Perillo, and his email is 37353@lapd.online. Any traffic concerns, any questions, please reach out to him. Again, he's our community traffic service officer here for Topanga.
And he was a gentleman who was going to join us tonight, but was unable.
He was. So I'll have to see what happened, and if I can, and I promise I'll try and get him back on one of these times.
No problems at all. I see some more questions. So I wanted to get you out of here by 9 o'clock.
Just really quick? Can I just go over some of the new laws real quick?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, so some of the new laws that came into effect for 2025, and this is just in particular to street racing and sideshows. So if you are Only a spectator, your vehicle will be impounded. Law enforcement can impound your car if you are racing on private streets or in parking lots. A clear definition for violations of a sideshow and a street takeover. Your mere presence of just being at one of these street takeovers, you are guilty of the crime. Law enforcement can impound cars that are used in street racings. If we don't get them that night, if you are having a problem with certain vehicles that are going, I have a problem on Ventura and Winnetka in my Ralph's parking lot. I've had some of the community send me pictures of license plates of vehicles that do donuts in that parking lot. I then send it to our street racing task force, and they go out and they impound the car. They cite the car because I have video footage of it and I have them doing it on a consistent basis. Am I telling the community to go out there and put themselves in harm's way? Absolutely not. But these are all from video surveillance. Okay. These are all from photos of vehicles that are at this same location every time. So if you can safely get a photo of a license plate, please pass it on to us and we will take it from there. So if we don't impound it that night, we will do follow-ups and try and get that car impounded for the reckless driving. And then so daylight laws. So it prohibits both personal and commercial vehicles from parking or stopping 20 feet from any marked or unmarked crosswalk. This applies to all curbs that are not red striped. So during the day, you cannot stop or park a vehicle within 20 feet of any marked or unmarked crosswalk. So a lot of people say, oh, well, I know that. Well, let me tell you, there's a lot of citations that are given because people park right next to a stop sign. Just because it's not red doesn't mean that you can park there. If it's 20 feet from a crosswalk or a stop sign, you cannot park there. So those are some of the new ones for 2025. Any questions real quick?
Okay, let's see. Frank, you got, I think that's Franny. Franny, go ahead. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi. I wanted to go back to traffic for a second.
Sure.
The traffic on Owens Mouth by the park.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much speeding on Owens Mouth, and I know we're waiting for a light to go up on Merrily.
Yes.
And I don't know what's happening when it's going to go up or not.
Okay.
But is it possible? How can a lot of people cross to go to the park and people are just speeding by and it's like an accident waiting to happen.
Absolutely. Have you contacted the council district regarding getting, like I said, I know that street light is supposed to go up, so I'm hoping that will also prevent some of the speeding that is happening. But again, I can have Officer Perella open up a ticket and he can work that location for 3 months.
And there are some abilities, by the way, to do raised crosswalk areas so that the cars really come up. It's almost like a speed bump in essence.
But Owens Mouth doesn't have that.
I know, but there's I sit on one of the council's committees where we can use some of the funds from the development that's going on in the Woodland Hills area to basically improve some of the safety of streets if those are there. If you'd be kind enough, you can email me over to me at john@whho.com. I can take a look at some of those areas too. But we've got numbers of millions of dollars that have to be used to.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
To help, especially in those areas where I'm very concerned about those areas where there are situations involving safety issues. But all the developments that are in the Warner Center area and Woodland Hills area, when they put the development in, they have to put together some funds for putting those facilities in because they're going to increase the traffic in those areas. And as a result, we're looking to see what areas need to be improved so that we can increase that safety. So be aware there's a committee that does that, and we're working on that. I serve on that committee, and I'll be happy to take a look at those things too. So keep that in mind.
You want me to email you?
Yeah, email me too, if you would. Just to john@whho.com. That'll get to me.
Because there's a lot of elderly people that walk across Owens
I understand. We were looking at some of the issues that were over there and see if we could not take care of some of the parking areas because they're almost kind of blind. People get blind struck over there. They step out between cars.
Thank you.
Do send that over so we take a look and see what we can do with that.
Thank you.
Okay. We have Tony. You haven't spoken yet. You got some questions. Unmute yourself. You can go ahead and talk.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. I appreciate it, and all good questions. I have one specifically around, and it's not about the burglaries, although we're experiencing a lot here just in my neighborhood as well, but more or less traffic up and down Calderon. I live on Calderon, and I'm wondering how we could, as citizens, help to get speed bumps in the neighborhood. We have a lot of there's a lot of racing up and down this hill, and it's very narrow. So my huge concern is, people getting hit, walking, etc. Just didn't. I would put it out there. I didn't know if anyone had any information that I could actually, use to look into that.
You reached out to Seth Samuels out of Bob Bloomingfield's office.
No, but I can do that. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to give you his number. His number
Okay.
is 213-246-6521. And that is Seth Samuels, and he is the field deputy for the Woodland Hills area out of Bob Bloomingfield's office. And all the speed bump and all that information he can definitely provide to you.
And he is very good at doing that. But there's a procedure that has to go through.
Yes.
He'll set that out for you, so you
Okay.
can follow those very, very specifically, and you'll be able to get that stuff to work for you. I think fairly well. Okay.
Okay, great.
So
Thank you
this
so
should be
much.
good.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Bruce, you've been asking some more questions. I'll give you some more shots here. We just about running out of time. Go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, do you guys have a lot of cameras on Valley Circle to put up?
No, they were
put up.
Did they put them up?
Oh, on Valley Circle, yes, there is.
Oh, they put them up already?
That's good.
There is cameras on Valley Circle. I know there is more cameras that are going to be installed. I don't know the exact locations of Valley Circle. I can ask your senior lead officer Fernandez, and I can get back to you. Like I said, text me, and I'll get that information to you.
Now, we're always curious about where those cameras are fed back to. Who's watching those cameras that are put up on the poles in those areas?
So it's the same office that is doing the drones.
Topanga
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Is there a process? Who's making the determination of where they go? Is that community driven, or is it being driven by the police department?
It's a little bit of both. It depends on the volume of traffic. It depends on the accidents. There's a lot that goes into it. It depends on how many community complaints we're getting. It's not just one or the other.
Leslie Page, you just raised your hand. You can unmute yourself. I think you haven't asked a question yet. Go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, officer, first of all, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. You mentioned earlier that a lot of the people that perpetrate the burglary crimes, they look for houses where the ingress and egress it's pretty easy. Do you have any specific advice though for those of us who live like in the Spaghetti Canyon, a circuitous neighborhood right below like Dirt Mulholland? Is there anything that we should be aware of, or are there different? I know these crimes are happening less frequently over here, but just geographically, we just live in a very unique type of neighborhood over here. So, what should we be looking out for, and should we have a different type of vigilance than say others who might live close to freeways, for example?
No, because I think that they're looking for crime of opportunity. And I think that's in any neighborhood. They obviously map how they're going to get to the closest freeway prior to doing the crime. But that doesn't mean that those other homes are not being looked at. I don't want that to be a false sense of security. So again, it's lighting, it's knowing your neighbors, it's having your camera, it's all the same for any residential or commercial area. But yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't want that false sense of security that because you're not by a freeway or because you're more in the hills that you're not going to be targeted. Again, they're driving around looking for that crime of opportunity.
Kurt, you had your hand up. You go ahead and ask a question.
Yeah, this is hey, hi. This is just a question. We haven't really talked about the homeless situation. You're not really, as a law enforcement person, you're not really in charge of the homeless situation. But have you noticed an uptick in homelessness again underneath the underpasses? I'm seeing it. I go from here to Studio City, and it just seems like it's on the rise again. And was there a sort of a law or something that was passed at the beginning of the year saying that they were no longer going to, or they were going to enforce the um, homelessness on the streets situation, or am I just dreaming that?
No. So anything under an underpass falls under that 4118 section. That 4118 section has multiple different subsections that we can enforce for. But it also there's the enforcement part, and then there is the LAPD policy. So really quick, I'll go over our LAPD policy. When it comes, so yes, those 4118 posted signs are for all the underpasses. They are not allowed to lie, sleep, sit still, any of their belongings there. Okay. So, with that being said, LAPD has to make contact and give a verbal warning. Then they have to come back and then write for an infraction. And then they have to come back and write for the misdemeanor. And then they can come back and arrest. And this all happens over multiple days. So we try and give the benefit of the doubt. We know that I will say every homeless that I have encountered in Woodland Hills, in my area, I'm speaking only for my area, every single one of them is on a wait list for housing. I do not have one person that has refused housing. So with that said, though, if they are arrested on that fourth time, they are taken to Van Nuys and they're out within 2 to 6 hours. Why? It's a municipal code, right? They can be arrested for it, but it's not the crime of the century, right? And so it's tough because then what happens? They go right back to where they are. And then the process for LAPD has to start over again. We have to make contact, we have to give the verbal warning, and it's the steps. When it gets to the district attorney's office, the department, we have a very hard time once the citation and the arrest leaves LAPD and goes through the court system. We are having such a hard time with them filing the cases. And it is so frustrating on so many ends. And that like I said, you can talk to any senior lead officer here. We try our best and we try, but it is near impossible to get them to file these cases. And when they do file the cases, it's $100 warrant. It's nothing that would deter them from continuing to be on the street. Now, again, we have to have more housing. That means that there has to be other locations that we can build in Woodland Hills. We can only house Woodland Hills PEHs in the Woodland Hills area, right? So I can't place someone who's experiencing homeless that is in Woodland Hills in a location in CD12. It doesn't work like that. They have to be housed within CD3. What does that mean? CD3 has to have the housing. If CD3 doesn't have the housing, I have nowhere to place them.
And it's even further than that, before they can put up the 4118s, the councilman has to make a request for the council to approve those to go up first as to what those geographical areas are. And very honestly, as we're hearing that because of some of the members on the council are upset about that process, that they're not giving approval
right.
some of those areas to the council member, even though he's saying we need to have it in this area. If the city council doesn't do it, it can't get posted for 4118. So it's a nightmare from day one on that stuff. Bob, you had your hand up. We're running out of time here. Let's get through quick questions here if we can.
Okay, really quick.
So
going back to the traffic issues, you and I actually communicated back in July of last year. I live on Oxnard and Kelvin, and it's one of those intersections when they're constantly doing donuts.
Yes.
You had told me I should ask LAPD 1-800 or whatever the number was.
The emergency line?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So I did. I made 3 or 4 incident reports with incident numbers.
Okay.
And no one ever followed up. So I don't.
Now, is that with street racing or is that just strictly with donuts?
With just donuts. And the thing is, it's not just donuts right at the intersection. I actually had video that showed them doing donuts in the intersection, then continuing to just donut or like slide, whatever, back and forth, drift, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Down Oxnard towards DeSoto. And I explained that there's a hill there. And they're going all the way to the opposite side of the street. So there you can't see if a car is coming or not. And, there would be like a full head-on collision. And I had reported all of this, and no one ever reached out no one ever did anything, and they're still doing it. It's maybe not as often, but it still happens. It still
Right.
happens maybe every other week or once every 2-3 weeks. So I did what we were supposed to do.
Right.
I didn't get any results. So
So
what do I do?
Can you text me and then I will reach out to Officer Perillo and that way he can open up a ticket and give me and I believe you said it's happening like between midnight or is it happening during the day?
It's like it's happened during the day. I mean, as a matter of fact, we have it on Ring. My wife just happened to be driving home and she pulled up at the intersection when the car was doing donuts and she started honking at him and he drove away. So we even have that on video just like 5 o'clock, in the afternoon. But usually it's between 10 p.m. and like 2 a.m.
Okay.
So, and it's to the point where inside of our house fills with smoke from the burning rubber.
Right.
And it's usually weekends. It doesn't really happen during the week. It's usually weekends. So there was that. That was one of the main things. And the other thing, and I know, so this intersection, there's a stop sign and people fly through it without even like tapping on their brakes. And I had looked into speed bumps, but because the speed limit is, I think, 40, something like that, it's above 25 miles an hour. I was told that we don't put speed bumps on streets above 25 miles an hour. So what alternatives do we have? These people are flying through their intersection. And as I indicated earlier, I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Right. So that's truly something for Officer Perillo to work. That's the reason why he's assigned to our division, and he's supposed to be able to handle any community complaints when it comes to these intersections. So I would reach out to him.
Can I get his number again? I'm so sorry.
Absolutely. So his email is 37353@lapd.online.
At LAPD.online. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, Bruce, you're unmuted. You can go with your question to her. Brittney, can you stay with us for a couple more minutes? We get a couple more questions. Okay. Bruce, you're unmuted. Go ahead with your question, sir.
Thanks very much. This is really great that you're here, officer. There is a stretch of Ventura Boulevard just west of Wood Lake in front of the bowling alley where big rigs parked consistently for years, and it's only a 2-hour parking limit. And I just would think that parking enforcement can make money if they spend a little time out there.
I'll reach out to DOT. We have our friends over there, and you said it's by the bowling alley?
Yes, right in front of the bowling alley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I will reach out to DOT tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Franny, you got your hand up. You're going to unmute yourself. Go ahead. Franny, go ahead and unmute yourself.
No, it was a mistake. I already spoke.
All right, good enough. No worries at all. Chris, I see you got your hand up too. Chris, you can go ahead.
I need to lower it.
Chris,
Finally got through.
Bowling alley.
Chris, did you have a question or
I was raising my hand.
Yeah, I had to be unmuted.
Write a question.
Yeah, okay, go ahead and unmute yourself.
I did.
Go ahead. Ask your question. We got you.
Okay, so I just wanted to say the times that I've been out that I'd seen, like high-speed racing was basically on Shoup between Victory, going toward Ventura. But another place that I'm within about 100 feet, literally in a cul-de-sac between Shoup and Fallbrook. And what I hear is more around 5 o'clock in the morning, people that are just speeding. And the one thing that seems most obvious is that it sounds like these trucks that are going maybe to Fallbrook Mall or Platte Village, taking food or something there, are just trucking. But see that area, you've got Shadow Ranch Park and Toledo High School right there. So there is a school zone. So technically they should not be exceeding 25 miles an hour in that area, but they are obviously traveling fast enough that I can feel the vibration of the truck in my own home. So
Yeah, I mean, I can ask Perillo to open up a ticket over off of Shoup and Fallbrook
Okay,
at
thank
that
you.
time. Okay?
Thank
Absolutely.
All right, we've got I got one more question I'm going to give to you that's in the written ones because they're saying we're not monitoring the written, which we are. This has to do with the RVs over in Valley Circle. First, how did they finally get rid of them? And why did it take so long to get rid of them? And then the other question sort of dovetails into that, that Steve has been asking here is um, uh, why are they not filling these homes? Are all of them filled up, the little tiny homes that they're using now at this point? And how long are they allowed to stay in them? They stay in there forever, or is there a path for them to go elsewhere and to move them to another location or to get more permanent residence to them? What's been your experience on that process of first getting rid of the RVs and secondly of filling up these tiny homes?
So remember the RV situation, it's not illegal for anybody to, it's for the dwelling, a vehicle dwelling. There's no LAMC code that states that you can't live in your vehicle. But that's with any vehicle, any RV, all across the board. What the one that was the one that was removed just recently off of Valley Circle, she was housed and she relinquished her RV. So that was us working with her in order to get her house. They allowed us to. She relinquished her RV. So that was that one. When it comes to the tiny homes, yes, it's very hard to match because a lot of people want the tiny homes. It's supposed to be that interim housing, and then you're supposed to be then switched into at the very end permanent housing. Granted, is it a fast process? It is not a fast process. Is it supposed to work work a little bit better than it is? Absolutely. But again, we're having trouble with housing individuals. We're having trouble with the inside safe programs. We're having trouble with getting people through the programs because of funding. So there's a lot that goes into it. Again, I only assist when it comes to reaching out to the council district to try and get these individuals outreach to get them enrolled into the program. I have nothing to do with them being housed. That is all the council district, and that is all the different nonprofit organizations that help and get them housed.
Daniel, you've got your hand up. You haven't asked a question. You're the last one, I think, for tonight because our senior lead officer is going to be tired out. I'm sure we are. Daniel, go ahead with your question. Keep it short and simple so we can get her to get some rest tonight.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah. So my question is, you said that anyone can live in a vehicle.
Yes.
Okay, so that's fine. Valley Circle, where this RV was there for I think about 10 months. It's a 2-hour zone. So you can live in your vehicle, but it's a 2-hour zone. So that means every 2 hours you got to move the vehicle. The thing was parked there for 10 months. Nobody was enforcing it. I mean, so you can live in your car, that's fine, but that doesn't mean you get to override the 2-hour zones, right?
Right, but we're not going to pull somebody out of the car just to impound the car. The violation doesn't supersede an individual staying in their vehicle. I get it. It's frustrating. We could cite every 2 hours, but again, that's not going to fix the problem. Remember, we have to try and work with the community. We have to try and work with these individuals. We have to try and gain their trust. We have to do everything we can to work with them. It's like I said, it's not an overnight process. And I wish there was something more that I could tell you that that would make it a quicker process.
Right.
Yeah, it is difficult and it is very frustrating, but there's nothing on the books right now that allows law enforcement to impound any of these vehicles.
Right. So if I parked my car in Valley Circle and left it there for a week, I'm pretty sure it'd be gone.
Well, because you're not living in it. Because you're not living in it.
And that really is the key to it, Daniel. And unfortunately, it's really a state, and it's really a local legislation issue. There's been a change in the philosophy, I think, with over the past couple of decades of what's to be done with this situation. And the laws are really not doing what they need to be doing. And there needs to be some changes with that. If you're frustrated with it, you can't really imagine how frustrated the police department is too, because they see this stuff going on. They don't want it there. They know that this is creating more problems in our community too, with bringing people in that are creating crimes and what have you, allowing people to get away with stuff, what have you. But it's difficult no matter what. And all we can do is be thankful for our police officers, which we are more than thankful for you tonight. Senior
you.
Leader Officer Gutierrez, you're a hero to our community. We deeply, deeply appreciate your time that you spent with us. It's amazing the work that you do in our community and the time that you spend with us and getting things done. We deeply appreciate it. We're gonna have to say goodnight to you. I think we would love to be able to sit and chat for ages with you at this point. But thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you
your
for
service
having
to the
me.
community. And again, for all those that haven't joined us, join the Woodland Hills Homeowners Organization. Been around since '85. $25 a year. Go to our website, whho.com. Join with us so we can get your input, get your focus, and be able to help you help us in the things we're doing. Well, officer, we hope to be able to see you again soon. We hope to see you maybe at the next neighborhood watch up in the community room there in Topanga, and hope to have you back over here too, and have the captain back over as well at some point in time. But thank you, and thank you for your service.